Hello, folks. Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Folks, before we get going, let's thank our supporters and our sponsors. The Historical Fencing Guild is a proud member of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Folks, a rising tide lifts all boats, and these folks are working together to create comics, novels, and other independent quality materials for your entertainment and mine. Follow them on Facebook. And thank you for the usual high quality graphics. The Historical Fencing Guild is made possible by The Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe. Available through Amazon at www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tuckert. That's me. These are intro manuals to teach anyone the basics of swordsmanship and handling other related weapons. If you want to learn the simplest, easiest way to kill your friends for fun and profit, look up The Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe. The Historical Fencing Guild is also supported by the Hybrids, the Sons of Gods role-playing game. This is available by Luke Stone Studios at igg.me/at/killingfield2. Look for more information. The crowdfunding for that originally was over, but there may be some news in the way of crowdfunding for a new crowdfund, possibly a Kickstarter for those of you who don't look like Indiegogo. Who knows? You'll have to follow me for more information. And as always, we are made possible by my amazing patrons. These 7 stout souls are a bulwark between me and financial destitute, allowing me to keep the lights on, keep the dungeon running, and keep reviewing gear and ideas so that you, my dear viewers, can have entertainment, education, and everyone's favorite fat man in a Hawaiian shirt talking about swords and silliness. So that commentary actually lost me a viewer, but that is okay. Getting right into the comments, and please, if you are watching this, turn the live chat on or I look schizophrenic. Hi, Foxy. I assume Bladed Thesis will be in shortly. I have stuff to talk about. This has been an exciting week. I am running slightly late due to some medical journeys. Nothing debilitating farther than I was not walking well for a bit. But we will go to Purple Heart Armory. And remember, folks, if you're going to Purple Heart Armory and you're looking for HEMA-related goods, do me a solid and do you a solid by following the affiliate link in the bottom. I want to check their deal of the day because I check it so you don't have to. Let's see, what is new? Oh, they've got, I'm for once, and I got to first one here to like the scream. Well, you two are some of my favorite people on the whole planet. I am just disgustingly amused by you, and I left the swords I was going to talk about over there. So we're having one of those live streams, folks. You know what? I'm going to do something I seldom do. I will be right back, but you can hear me prattling because I have cord and I have sword. I wanted to keep the 1.33 on hand because it is my newest acquisition, and I've been playing with it a bit, and I've got some more things I want to talk about that a little later. Plus, I like to have one kind of generic training sword that I can answer questions with. Hey, thank you, Steve. You know I always play. Disgustingly amused. Yeah, that sounds like us. Folks, while we're talking about if you want to see more of me being disgustingly amusing, I have a pretty much long-standing gig now as the game master for Red Valkyrie Presents Dice Dames and Dudes, where I'm running an impromptu game that I am writing as I run it, roughly. And folks, it's just caving all in. Hi, John. Great to see you here. Now, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. We have some exciting stuff going on right now, and I'm really I am jazzed. Why am I jazzed? Nick, you seem like you've been hitting the rocket fuel. Note the rocket fuel bottle. I have not begun to power. This, dear friends, viewers, listeners, guildies, and John, we have a couple things coming through the air that are going to make my life a lot better. First and foremost, the amazing Brian K. Morris has joined us today. I don't usually get to see him because that man has, more, he has more, well, you know what? He is busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest, and he's winning. But, all right, all the information would make you so. Here's what's coming down the pipe, and 5 viewers, 4 likes. Let's keep that synced up to feed the algorithm monster gnawing at my neck. Guys, I have reached my full immunity via the happy COVID-19 shot. I can't get monetized saying it, but I'm not monetized, so I don't care right now. But that was good. But as of today, my son is fully, protected. So the first time since this whole shenanigan, I can start to feel a little relaxed. Oh, and hello, Little John. And Big John. I'm so happy to see both of you. Now, I went down to Walmart in Lafayette and had whole shenanigans. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to say a certain AutoZone did not do its good. But I found these. And no, these are not mono bras for little somethings. These, of course, are the generic masks. You guys see them anywhere? They are labeled at 50 cents, but they rang up at 25 cents. So I'm going to unpack them right now. I was very happy to buy these. Now, longtime viewers and people who know me know, Nick, you never wore the cheap junky masks. You wore nearly chemically rated N95s you had before everything went to pot, because that's who you are. Now, thank you. I'm so glad you guys don't know. My world's just blowing up right now. What? Now we have to ask, dear friends, and I should not gesticulate with a sharp knife, although Lord knows I do. Why, of all things in 2021, when everyone has hated these guys, would I buy 5 of them, even at a price of a quarter for them? I believe in adaptation, and I'm sorry about the occasional blue light. I have not annoyed Smurf snipers this week. It is just a refraction from my little lights. I could turn them off, but they feel cool, so I'm going to leave them on. But why would I get these? Now, we're going to... Oh, John, I have the fencing manual in my hand. The SCA is allowing spears on the fencing field, and they are pliable rubber. No steel on the field. Interesting. John, please send me the links about the SCA spears. I want to know which heads they're using. And I may have to contact some people. That is huge news. I know that some steel fencing spears just got reviewed by Lindy Beige not too long ago. It was either Lindy. I don't think it was Matt Easton. It might have been Matt Easton, but I think it was Lindy Beige reviewed some of the steel flexible spears, and I have some caveats to ask about that. But we'll have to see. Please send me that link or whatever. That is awesome. So I'm glad that Lil John's here. I love Lil John. He's an awesome dude. Now, getting back, wow. Yeah. So if that makes more safe spearheads a viable option, that is a beautiful thing. And I'm glad to see the SCA trying to evolve. I hope the more insular aspects can evolve with their game changes. I will like to see if that changes the armor requirement, because I will, till the day I die, say that the SCA desperately needs to make plastrons mandatory for fencers. A hard chest protection. And I actually found off camera, this is my plastron. Now you'll note it is marked up. It is marked up because I was making adjustments for someone else, and I was writing the measurements that need to change to make a bootleg on theirs. It will wipe off eventually. But folks, you know what this is. This is what keeps my humble little heart from breaking due to impact. Now, that is wonderful news. And Blade Thesis says, boo, 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 boo. That's right. Blade Thesis is the one who posted the link to Lindy Beige, who I do follow, but he got lost in the cycles. I follow a lot of people across 2 channels. And yes, absolutely. We are big fans of pole arms in this household anyway, even though there's a bit of a difference because my wife prefers longer 7.5-foot spears, 7.5-foot glaives to be specific. And I'm more of a boar spear, keep it short and comfortable guy. But hey, the differences make us all work well. That is so awesome. I have built-in breastplate. It's called ribs and sternum. Okay, John. You know you aren't physically normal. And to those of you who don't know, while I was in the SCA and I was fencing, I took a hard shot from a double lunge. Now, this doesn't happen in games where right of way is a thing, but I took a double lunge where a Schlager hit me and it happened to catch and stick in the ding between my ribs near my sternum. It tore 5 of my ribs from my sternum and cracked 3 of them in the process. I did not know that. Continued fencing that day like nothing happened. So I don't suffer much room for things that can get people hurt. Now, John, like I said, is a giant, and very often he references the weapons and some of his increased durability. So on the good for you, I was going to say it's just like how heavies should cover their joints, have joint protection, have groin protection, and have a decent kidney belt. But then again, I will always err heavier on safety because, I've seen more failures. Okay, Bledley says, let's see you and your wife do a video on pole arms versus swords, cons and such. I've recently seen a video from... I would love to. Right now, my wife is trying to make arrangements to see a sports doctor because she has shoulder injuries. That's the only reason that she doesn't come on and fight on my channel is a health issue. It's also what's been delaying my buckler video because she's actually been very eager to be the person doing the poking. But, I know you're being facetious. I always have to err toward the safety of my viewers, and I get a lot of messages from younger guys just starting out, and some of the machismo that people bring into Western martial arts is dangerous to them and others. So I have to kind of hold the line awful hard on you, and that isn't a reflection on you. That is a reflection on the necessity of the times. But whew, 1 second. Yes, I do need, if not her, another accomplished Silver Ogre. Wonderful. Now that lovely person actually has been following my antics on the Dice Dames and Dudes. I'm sorry, I don't run that side of it. I'm usually in a fantasy world narrating it. So so there's talk, and I'm sorry, I had marshals get very angry with me at points for being very careful, like not wanting. I don't care if somebody is a bronze ringer or has been fencing longer than I've been alive. If they come on a field and one of their riggings has a sharp point, I'm going to say I don't feel safe fighting it, and that needs, and I'm going to either forfeit the fight or have that weapon removed. That's not being a dick, because it's so easy on a press to get gigged, especially if you know somebody has calibration issues. So awesome. Hey, thank you for dinging the bell. I love all the support. I love all the questions, and I do. Wonderful. It's something I'm interested in, but only people. I fully understand. Finding gamers is a lot like finding people to drill with and spar with. Oftentimes these groups overlap, and it can be insular. Done it before, won't do it again. Oh, John, that was a different thing, and that involved this. Now, but yeah, guys, this is great. I've spent a long time, and actually, if you read my book, I talk a lot about spears as a amalgam for fencers, because it's really just expanding basic blade work, and that's why I love Wing Chun Longpole. And whether it is or not originally of that style, that is how it was presented to me. And I actually had a great conversation last week with Sword Sage and after about how it's probably not from there, but it's gotten credit. And, it just got folded into the style. I love it. It's a really neat, practical approach to spear work. There are more elaborate. The spear is the king of weapons. I will never talk that. As much as a devoted fencer, small sword, short sword guy, I will always, condone that the spear is the primary, proper military grade weapon of the period. A spear or a polearm. I get a little funny when we get into great swords because I find them to be a touch specialist, even though shockingly I can make two-handed swords go. We've lost some comments because I've been chatting. Let's see, done before. I've tried in the past to get Foxy interested in spear because it keeps her opponent further, but it wasn't her style. That is something that frequently happens when you're dealing with a much smaller opponent. Polearms can be offered favorably. Now, the problem is people often forget to scale the polearm to the person. So a very small person may only fight with a 5 or 6 foot spear. Even, there are exceptions again. Of course, my wife loves her 7.5 foot glaive, and it's a wonder she hasn't become. But they are absolutely imperative, in my opinion, for understanding both medieval battlefields, and they are literally one of the base core weapons in the 200,000 year history of us on the planet. One of the oldest weapons that have been found is the spear, and it still works. So, but if she's uncomfortable or doesn't, I have no problem with that. Foxy knows, and Foxy, you know me on Facebook, honey. That's what DMs are for. If you want to talk styles or something, to find something that works for you, I'm all about it. Now, getting back to Ogre, I'm going to say Ogre because my speech impediment is getting a hold of Silvar, and I'm going to say Silver and all this other stuff. So I'm just going to call you Ogre, not to confuse you with John's friend Ogre. But boing, 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 going back. I'm looking for a trainer and exercise regimen for preventative readiness. I love that, folks. The only thing I love better than a historical fencing nut or a historical swordsman is somebody. Oh, good, thank you. Then we'll figure what rolls off what's left on my tongue later. I bit my tongue nearly in half when I was a kid, so it doesn't always work. When you're looking for a system, you need to take in what you already know. Right. Well, and if it's fighting style, it might not be comfortable. Also, women of certain builds, especially rather busty women, often don't like to work. I have found that sometimes they have trouble working around them with a two-handed weapon because they have to fight extended. I know several people by ogres. There's always, there's usually someone large or skillful. The reason John's not an ogre is in our circle, ogre's bigger. And if you see the videos that feature John, think about what I just said. I get you, Foxy, but I found that some, like I said, I found some people. Correct me if this isn't the case, but traveling weapons. So I'm going to use my cane sword trainer here. We've got some newbies. This is my homemade cane sword trainer because there's one on the market. And that's just a piece of HDP. Okay. When they have to, let me pull this down just a little bit. Sometimes when you're training with ladies, you have to realize that because of the biological differences, cross guard weapons occasionally aren't comfortable. Some have no problem with it, but that can be yep. Wonderful. If you want to try, I will send you, let's just say I have some good materials on long pole. We can talk about making a lightweight training spear. Never be afraid to make something light to train with, even if it's not spar capable, so that you can build up. You're going to see a lot of adaptation coming out of me in the near future as I work around my rather severe carpal tunnel. I'm going to be doing physical therapy, things like that. We're going to get into that. Now, I support whatever decisions you have to make to work. Getting back to Silver Ogre, that's awesome. If you are looking for styles, honestly, I know I'm plugging my book, but the Simple Sword is a great no nonsense entry that starts to talk about sword styles as a practical approach. Not in foreign language, not in dated. It's in English, but it's in English from the 1600s, and still feels a little clunky. Plain simple English. I give a basic style. My system is built around 9 guards that anyone can pick up. Once you're doing that, make a mental list of what you want to focus on. Given this day and age and the political environment, without getting too far into it, I would focus on, if you're looking for readiness, train with the things you have at hand. Train with a staff length stick, so a two-handed. We'll pull out of the SAS survival handbook because it was a great book I used to read. 1 meter stick, 2 meter stick. Know how to make something roughly this long. Go. Most of your concussive sword strikes will work fine. Most of your thrusts are far more effective than people want to admit. Ditto with the long stick. Understand the rudiments of knife, both a working length knife and one second. What would be I have practical knives in my box. I just have to grab them. And I was talking swords. Well, that's a little excessive. I'm looking for. I have a Bowie in here, and not a Bowie. K-bar. Anyhow, well, we'll go simple. Go with a reasonable length knife. Basically, whatever kind of knife you favor, you want to get a trainer of. If you don't have a trainer, there are 2 big options. You can obviously order one. Cold Steel makes a lot of knife trainers of the knives they sell at reasonable prices. They are a little stiff, but they can be deadly effective. The other means you can do is simply buy a thick cutting board, trace whatever knife you have, and cut it out. If you're looking for swords, I do recommend Purple Heart Armory's basic trainer line. They're very simple, and they usually come in one of 2 plastic varieties. You'll find something like this. If I were to say a one-handed sword to train with, if you want a very, this is it. This is the Italian tactical trainer. The Italian tactical side sword, and he dropped the side sword. Dropped the tactical. So the Italian side sword trainer. I helped design this weapon as a training tool. This is great because it teaches you quillions. It lets you get used to a knuckle bow. Has some hand protection. I'm working on trying to find a way to get a proper cut. And depending on your height, and we can always talk about this, this is a good length to draw. At the beginning of my book, I talk about how to select a weapon that fits you. Now, they have a different style of plastic. If you want something simpler, this is the 1.33, and it's a bit more forgiving. There's, and this is again very simple for one-handed. I have an affiliate link. I'll be happy to help you or anyone else work through kind of what works, what doesn't, what you want to get out of it. The other thing I will definitely say is axes are your friends. So what you want to train with is what's the most common that you'll have access to. Understanding how to make something like a machete go is very, very good. Understanding how to make an axe and a cooking knife, which where is knifey? My cooking knife trainer I've been cleaning is not where it's supposed to be. But a cooking knife trainer, train with what you have access. Improvised weaponry is a great thing to look at. I want to say the CIA improvised guide is available free. You can find it places. There are a few others. Understanding that with the caveat for anyone listening, when you're training for readiness, it is a bit more martial arts oriented and thus more concussive and likely more dangerous. I do recommend knowing how to use a cane, especially if you use one assistively. Now, my poor cane is beat all to heck. Look at that. Look at my poor cane. Beat all to heck. I'm going to have to do something about that. This is a custom cane by Carbon Fiber Canes. Carbon Fiber Cane by Custom Canes, that is. Yeah, hammers and screwdrivers are great. Right now, and I try very hard to keep from getting political on this channel, but we are at a point where there's some really interesting Second Amendment discussions. Whereas it is out of the scope of this channel, therefore I try to avoid firearms as a topic because this is the historical fencing channel. This is, for the Historical Fencing Guild. This is not the historical firearms channel. I do this in part to avoid my already pretty intense YouTube scrutiny due to it. Now, that being said, there are several push and pullbacks going on the subject of weapons regulations revolving around knives. Now, in several places, having a knife that can be opened one-handed is a felony. End of story. I believe New York City is like that. Well, Steve Clausen says move to a free state. I say write your congressman about it. There is a big debate about knife rights, and that is where I tend to weigh in because I weigh in on what I know. I know edged weapons as both weapons and tools. And the thing that I will have to say is, while people there's room in my mind for discussion, even if I don't agree with it, about firearms and what the public should or shouldn't have. I have my opinions, but I can see where people feel the need to discuss and debate. On the subject of knives, I see absolutely there is no wiggle room in my logic on that because there is no doubt that knives were included in the intention of the founding fathers as part of what they talked about not liking was Britain's frequent anti-knife policies. So I find that going on exactly Silver Ogre. It says arms, not firearms. So that's why I'm comfortable in the circle of this channel speaking about knives as arms and them being a protected not protected, a recognized right under the Second Amendment. No room to wiggle, nothing. Knives and swords were understood in period. You can't use any historical because they haven't changed much. So now again, and And that's where I don't want to get a big flame war going in the conversation. I am friends with some very liberal people, and I am friends with very conservative people, and the vast majority of them, the absolute vast majority of them, support knife rights. Even when they will screaming, frothing text things over firearms. But they can, there's a level of sanity to most people about, yeah, you should be able to have a knife, especially rural environments. This is my neck knife. Now, I used to carry something called a Gerber Mini Fast Draw. It was not, closed. It was not much longer than this. A one-handed operation, assist open, single-edged knife. Nice knife. I loved it. I did break a couple, but I found out that it was a felony at the point for me to go into Michigan, where I went camping, and have that on me. And it was very much like my little spite knife. This is my little spite knife. I bought this because it's absolutely ridiculous, but oh God, this is terrible. I can carry a claw hammer, but not this. It opens. Anyway. I do not believe in assigning inherent evil to objects. That's part of my shtick. But I could not have it. I could carry a fixed blade that long. So I carried it's actually over there, a Cricket CRKT. I call it Cricket. Columbia River Knife and Tool. Oh, wonderful. Hello, Cindy Kemp, the amazing Cindy Kemp at www.ckoepp.com. She's an author. She created Animal Eye. Follow her stuff, and she's amazing fan martial artist. Getting back to it. This I carry everywhere. Like, I wear this. There are some places you can't have a knife that can't, in that they don't want it shown. It gets tucked. When it's out, it is literally fluorescent green. This glows in the dark. This is not a thing. I have to be careful with the comments on that, because that's where it could get political, regardless of what I feel. The other thing is, the fact that matters to me, and I think it's back to readiness. I don't remember, it's been years, but I saw the emergency survival records, and it said that somebody who had a pocket knife was 100% more likely to survive an emergency, crashed in the wilderness situation, than somebody who didn't. Now, do I think that's causation or correlation? I do think it's correlation, because I think the mentality of someone who carries a tool grade knife, and this is a tool. When I talk on this channel, I don't usually talk weapons. I don't usually talk about this grade of knife as a weapon. But oh, you poor thing, Foxy. With this, I can manufacture overnight housing comfortably with just this knife. Would it be easier with something like this? When I go hiking in the woods, I always bring something akin to this. I might bring a heavier one, but this is a nice light emergency hatchet. It does the job. Oh, no. Ogre, please. I am very passionate on the subject as well. But as John and other people know, I am very protective of my channel as a platform, because what I do is I encourage people to learn how to sword fight, especially those who think they can't because of physicality or gatekeep. I came from some organizations I've associated with them that were very big on gatekeeping because of people's build or their gender or their orientation. There were problems. So I don't I'm about empowering people. And to do that, I need a venue. This isn't about, a lot of people get on YouTube, I want to be famous. If I help one person, I'm doing my thing. Okay, so wow. Thank you. But I do engage in non freedom powered bang bang marksmanship. And that actually gets into something I wanted to talk about to anyone who saw the uh my lovely little slightly clickbaity thing. What was Nick up to? Well, I went to Wally World and cheapy masks. This is a youth size actually, which makes it even better. Were 25 cents for a 5-pack. Now, riddle me this, Batman. Why would a swordmaster and historical leaning person be interested in? Oh, I'm sorry, I need spare cord. And right now, I am not rope dart compatible, so I'll just have to break out some paracord. And everyone should always have paracord. Paracord is your friend. Why would I, a silly little swordmaster, be interested in bulk buying masks? Frog. Frog works. That's another good option. Bonus points for the beauty that is Syndicate because I hadn't hit that yet. But my God, that you are a 5 bonus experience points to Syndicate. Looped. I'm not wearing a belt right now because I'm wearing comfy shorts due to the fact that it's been heinously hot. But loop that through your belt like so. Loop your trainer through there. And look at that. Instant frog. Beautiful. Cindy. I should have. I was just thinking about that. And yes, absolutely. We need cheap frogs to hold our swords. These are great. They'll hold. Now John's getting where I was going. Yeah. Oh, decorative braiding. Decorative braiding is a hobby of mine. I don't have any of my examples, but yes. And absolutely, a sword frog, this is great. I'm going to buy more. I might just go buy them out and then hand them out because I want to teach my students to train from the draw. But John gets the what I was thinking prize. You see, I can still tie a knot, but right now my fine dexterity is not quite what it was. So let me just put a hitch on there. Oh, nope, I did that the wrong way. Oh, Ogre, you are in the right group. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Heavens to Murgatroyd. You are in the right group. I had this happy knot I stumbled on. It was a hitch. Of course, getting my hands to do it isn't really doing it right now, but that's okay. We'll throw a crude hitch on there. I know several. Now, I did not center this like I was supposed to, because of course I didn't. I'm talking. Hey, 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 y'all. Sounds like a married couple over there needs to get a room, and I support that. I'm sorry, Gomez and Morticia are the definition of how I believe a married couple should be depicted in media, and that is one of those hills I am totally comfortable dying on. But yes, we live in an era where understanding improvised weaponry is a good idea, both historically and from a survival. There's that happy little hitch. Now, the problem with slings isn't, well, I'm going to fumble the knot because what happened is I just dropped this and I tried to tie myself to the cord. Knots are a technology that love me, and anyhow, let's just get this out. That's what happened. So, we can take the fabric masks, the excessive ones we have, and we can make a sling. I'm going to make a relatively short sling. Now, oh, look, there goes that arm span measurement I am so fond of. It's almost like I live there. Now, normally I would say use a lighter, but I actually ran out of butane on my lighter this morning. And no, I don't smoke. No, I've never smoked, uh, except turkeys. Now, for the purpose of cooking, smoked meat is the way to go. But we're going to put a bit of a knot here, and I'm going to use a knot that puts some bulk to it. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I want to make a release kind of ball, which I just bungled again. And yes, if you want quality, sane broadcasting, I can recommend people like Brian K. Morris. Oh yeah, I always carry a lighter everywhere I go. I just happen to have been burning off the other end of this paracord because I often carry paracord. I just want enough that I can feel it, and I can expand the knot later. Now, that's one knot. The next one. Now, watch this video become something somebody popular steals the idea of. And we're just see if because I fell in absolute love with that little hitch I had on my kunai, and I'm trying to remember how I did it. Now, if my dad were here, who I will be seeing soon, thanks to being safe, he'd laugh because he was a sailor, and sailors know their knots. But we got another nice little hitch. You want to keep it pretty well centered. I haven't heard a Bill Cosby Noah reference in years. Thank you, Ogre. That makes my day. Ping. God. Well, see, and that's what a purse should be. Now we're going to go a little longer. And we're going to cut. Oh, yeah. I never leave the house without a knife, a lighter, a source of light, and usually a handkerchief. Knife, lighter, source of light. Oh, yeah. Oh, I have to empty my pockets. Now, this one I want to be a nice slip knot. So we're not going to over. I'm sorry, I didn't show you. Slip knot. This is not. This is not. Now, normally I'd take a lighter and melt these. No canoes. No canoes. The last time I went canoeing with John, I literally nearly died of hypothermia, and there were banjos and killer coyotes, and I totally bungled that knot because John was harassing me. Anyhow, fine. If this wants to be annoying, I can deal with annoying. I have other knots. I'm so annoyed that I ran out of butane. I'm going to have to reacquire my lighter. Anyhow, there we are. Now we have a nice little slip knot here. Slip knot goes around the wrist. Ball goes there. Should be about centered. Hey, look at that. That's not bad. What happens is you put ammunition, roughly from about a small ball up to one of these guys will hold the tennis ball probably snugly. And I do like tennis balls because that gives you excuse. You set it in there. Oh, here. We'll be a little defiant for now. And then you can just whip it, and when you release properly, instead of what happens where I throw it at my backdrop, you can launch it all over. Yes, pretty. I used a bowline knot, but you can use whatever works for you. Like I said, I have developed. Ogre doesn't know this. They did a nerve test on me that went completely wrong, and I lost all the use of my hands for 6 months, guys. I couldn't grip. So my mind remembers how to do several really nifty things. My hands don't like to do them. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the kind of classic fumbling that has become trademark on the thing. It would, but yeah, so basically it's also hard to demonstrate indoors sitting down. You get your swirl. When you do your release, it releases and launches. Yes, it will take some practice. But when I say it is so easy, a caveman could do it. You can do it. Now, what optimally there are the articulated masks that have expansion. That's going to give you a better pocket to hold your ammunition. Whip a super ball. Whip a tennis ball. Have some fun with this, and it's something else. The other thing we can do, and I don't have it with me, is get yourself some latex tubing or rubber strips. And again, this makes a great anchor pocket for a slingshot style projectile. Then, you have something else you can. So when you guys see these guys rattling around, and this is a youth size, so it's way too small for me, or you have leftovers because, people have them and some are wearing them, some aren't. Heck, a lot of people are in the habit of carrying a mask. I certainly am. Yeah, use it to throw a dog's tennis ball. If you have a dog, you get to practice and exercise the dog. And if you're out in a big field, it looks pretty mucking cool. So think about that. Isn't that fun? That's what we should be doing. Just because we're training in a skill that could be used to gather game or defend yourself, especially in a you're stuck somewhere scenario. I tend to go places that overlap with scary things that like to eat me. Awesome. So oh, oh. And to get back to Bladed Thesis, is because he mentioned Stone Sour, and I Am Made of Scars is an old anthem from some dark days. And I'm toasting to you, Ben Starkey. Rest in peace, brother. He knows why. You guys don't need to. And no, to new people, this is what I drink. My family is allergic to alcohol. We break out in the handcuffs. So, seriously, consider that. Film yourself. No, you can't use my gauntlet. John, your gauntlet. John's gauntlet's big enough that with some tweaks, we could have made an articulated helmet a la Stargate or the Lost in Space remake. Like, I really wanted to modify the design of one of John's gauntlets to include a articulated gorget from the cuff, and then have a hook mechanism that rides under and connects, because it's big enough to go right over my head. Just meshify that. And yeah, meshify. That's a word. If it's not a word, it should be. If Shakespeare can make up words, there's nothing stopping me. Actually, yes, I am. How did Silver Ogre? I have to ask you this. How did you know that? Oh, the booze. Yeah. That's scary. Spot on. I am German Irish, and I am Luxembourgeois. I'm Luxembourgese. So, there aren't many of us around. I wonder if you could use mask. Yes, absolutely. We were talking about using this as a frog earlier, but once you realize that it's just a little fabric pocket, and I'm like I said, when I go to the store, I'll just buy more. They're on clearance everywhere. Because you just loop your belt through here, it goes flat, and it just becomes a simple baldric. So yeah, you could modify these as a way of cutting out some of the sewing, make a baldric. Be creative. One thing that the Historical Fencing Guild is all about, something the Simple Sword is about, something the book that's coming out, the Swordmaster's Guide, the Poor Swordmaster's Guide to Arms and Armor, is yeah, there's no Foxy. I'm from the Black Forest because there is no light. I have to wear sunglasses in a brightly lit room, hence these guys. But yeah, I only come in two colors, white and bright red and flaking. Yep, okay. German, Irish, Belgian, Welsh. Cool. All of that involves dragons, and I'm pro dragons. That being said, yeah, see, I really wish I were wearing a belted pants right now because this is going to be great. So yeah, if you have questions, Ogre, one thing that happens, as you can see, is I run this very much like my dear friend Brian K. Morris runs his Nevermind the Furthermore, which is a program brought to you by Rising Tide Productions. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where at 10 a.m., where authors and comic book creators and folks like me get together and we do other stuff. So yeah, basically, I love getting a good council of discussion because I can sit here and pontificate, but this is more. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you answer questions. Sometimes you ask better questions. This is what I love. You'll note I don't put this out as the Nick Talker School of Fencing. You know, I know there's some people who are like, I am, Sword Fighter Joe, and you should pay me. There's a guy running around. He goes to cons. I'm not going to drop his name because I don't want to advertise him. He charges $180 an hour to teach people to sword fight. Now, maybe somebody like Maestro Ramirez or Doug Mercida or somebody who knows what's going on, I can things fly off the rails all the time. But I do it pretty much for free if you guys can donate stuff, like food helps. If you want to help and join the Patreon. But part of the thing that keeps people from getting the knowledge is economics. And I have been broke. My parents started tight and they made their way up. And when I left, I got real tight, scary tight, and I've made my way up. Thanks in part to an amazing wife who supports what I do, literally and financially. But that being said, we always work for minimal gear, minimal things. So if you're interested in learning to sword fight, the first 9 guards are actually talked about in the very, very first video I put out on this channel. It's vertical format because I shot it with a cell phone way back in the day. I have known some similar sword ladies of that general design, Silver Ogre, and I have no judgment on that. You'll find that I like them all. I am happily married. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. That means I can look at everything and go, nice, 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 whatever. I am delightfully eclectic. That being said, yep. Well, and there's a lot of comments, a lot of things. We're going to get into how that rolls. But if you have any specific questions, so Silver Ogre, is there a sword style you like? What is what you want to learn? And this doesn't have to be practical because practical is always a side of it. But hold on. Well, while I talk, I also have to do one of these days. I'm going to do a whole ranking on which sword trainers make the best back scratchers, which I know is utterly insane. But folks, you're talking to the guy in the dungeon with the Hawaiian shirt and Lydia, his undead assistant, over. She is back in her closet comfortably, guys. Since the Shoggoth invasion, I've been giving her a bit of a break. For the people who ask about Lydia. But good night, Lil John. Bud, keep your guard up and work. Do your job, make it out alive. But yeah. So if you give me a little bit more information, like I like how so and so fights, I can set you on a path to make that go. Because that's what I do here. But we lost a few people. That's okay. Yeah, you know what? I may do that. You know what I'll do? I'll take a note. I need to take a note. Where is my notes of power? Power. Oh, yeah. Hi, Steve. Here's the Hello Kitty Karambit. No, I won't destroy it, but it does exist. Boop. There's the Bollock Stagger I have to finish. Where is my notes? Oh, my new brain. I have a new brain, folks. I carry a cell phone, but I forget that my intelligence is stored on it sometimes. So I usually carry these little things to remind me what I need to do. What I will do is I will shoot a back scratcher review. And I will put it up on the Patreon channel for a while, and it'll get out here. The Buckler video is coming, but soon, one day, he says. Soon, that just requires my wife's hands being, her arm being functional, and we'll do it. I'd like to learn all, but if all limits are off, I have an imaginary resembling an agiri in my head. Well, my trick, give me a second, because oftentimes what you think is imaginary can actually be found. Let me do this. If I get online and I try to do anything off my main computer, it messes up my feed. I've learned this. So I keep my cell phone active solely for the purpose of incidents like this. Gary sword. Let me see if that. What? Okay, I've lost phone service, so that's turn off. Boom. Let me. Okay, what vaguely resembling an agiri. What does that look? Can you give me a description? Because I'm doing a Google search, and right now either the spelling is off or I'm not sure. I don't know the name of every sword out there. Obviously, I do tend towards Western. I do tend toward late. See, this is shocking. I know. It is possible. It is possible to have a gap in your knowledge, no matter how much you love something, and admit it. Oh, long-handled broadsword. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, my brother. I mean, single or double edge. And overall length. Long-handled broadsword. Okay, that's not bad at all. I do love that. Yeah, give me about the length of the handle and the length of the blade. And you don't have to be accurate. It's just enough. Some of you don't know this, but one of my sidelines is I am an Ollivanders of swords. Long-handled broadsword. That's what I fight, bro. Yeah, well, I have to figure out what his definition. Oh, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Not only is that a real sword, that there are some variants you can buy of something very close. M48 puts out I think they call it a Commander Gladius sword. Yeah. Yep. And they definitely make that weapon. As a trainer, no problem. To learn that, what you want to do is boop, 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 boop. And John's sword is about your height. At least one of them. Silver Ogre, go to there's an affiliate link. Go to Purple Heart Armory and you look through their basic trainers, you'll find some stuff that's close. What you want to start, there are two styles you want to start. If you want to fight a weapon, well, okay. This isn't quite there, but this is as close as I have in reach. Okay, let's see. This is what I have in reach. This is my lawn sword. I solved this. This is the sword I use for solving agricultural problems. How do you make something like this go? Well, I would start training bow staff, between bow staff or Joe staff. Actually, J.O. staff is fighting with a short, usually 4 foot long staff, and it tends to be one-ended. So this is a little short, but I'm a short guy. That's going to give you your rotational cuts, your thrusts, and go. If you take the simple sword and you take the 4 offline guards, let me see. I've been trying to make space. Let me do 2 things. While I'm here, the guard had to get borrowed for a project. Actually, had someone want to purchase my they wanted to purchase the chunk of woven paracord for a project. And being me and the fact that I am poor and somewhat mercenary, I did so. So I'm just going to secure this. How do you get a trainer for something like that? There we go. This is PVC. You can get a chunk of PVC for about $2, $1.50. If you have a cutter, you get one of these. You can get a 10-foot one real cheap and cut it down in the parking lot to fit in your car. No mess, no must. 19-cent end caps. Our buddies at the swordsman's secret supplier, Menards. Now I need to move my whole rack of weapons over, and there are many, so you'll have to bear with me for a second to make room so I don't take out my screen as more swords are arguing. God, I have a lot of swords pointing at me right now. I don't want to show you guys the mess, but I have a great many sword trainers. Over the years, I've started collecting. Now, okay, get me. So what you could do is you could take a chunk of PVC. This is actually athletic tape with cool. Then yeah, dude, make trainers out of what you have. If you used to sell irrigation supplies, this is up your bailiwick. And yeah, see, John's huge, Foxy's tiny. Wrap loosely a chunk of paracord around it to give you a nice spiral grip. Wrap that with some of the athletic tape, like you use if you sprain an ankle. It's real cheap. You'll get positive grip. Now, if you look at the simple sword, we're going to fast forward just a bit. I think I have room here. There are 9 guards, okay? So my headset is heinously tangled and somewhat, but so you have first, because you draw, you go up, and you're in first. We do this so that you can draw a sword in a narrow alleyway, because this way, in a limited space, you can always draw it up. And I'm going to angle it down a little bit so it shows. First. Second is one of the parry guards. So as soon as you're comfortable, most people rotate to third. This looks very comfortable, right? Parry into second, parry into fourth, poke, basics. That's the linear guards. Offline is 5, which is going to be outside high. 6, which I'm going to bring the angle so you can see it. Inside low. Inside high is 7 and outside low is 8. If you cycle through this 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, you look like a Star Wars background fighter, and 2, and very pointedly, if you have a partner with the similar stick and you are out of striking range, meaning your swords can hit swords, but you guys can't hit each other. You can easily both go 5, bang, 6, bang, 7, bang, 8, bang, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can use that to drill. I like PVC and related supplies because it's a couple things. One, they're remarkably sturdy. I have some PVC I've been training people with in the basics for light sparring for 20 years. I don't like it for heavy sparring. 2, it's fantastically inexpensive, with wood prices especially going up. And 3, it's remarkably modular. You can get pieces to make cross guards, wrap weapons, etc. So when you're looking at it, if you want something, you just mark it off and look at my system. Now, that's one-handed. If you take your second hand and you wrap by the pommel, in this case, 1, you're always going to be counter-pulling when you're doing 2. So it's not here. You see this in movies a lot. Yeah! Because that's very controlled of the angle. If it becomes a pivot, it goes here. Now, you can reverse it for more control because this is a guide hand and this is the accuracy sniping hand. But yeah, I don't know how agile you are. The trick is you want to learn a system. Whoop, there goes my background. Folks love when I beat up my background. Where you can act quickly and adeptly switch between weapons. Now, I like a sword style, but I don't carry a sword. Like I said, I carry a cane. I carry a cane most places, and this is far more likely to be a defensive weapon than this. Why? Because I have to get close to use this, and if I am using this, unfortunately, they're likely to die. It's very hard to maim someone enough to make them stop doing what they're doing without me getting hurt with a tiny class weapon. Now, a nice small to medium class weapon, something like this, I can fight a lot of ways. I can fight it two-handed, very classic kendo strikes. I can staff fight it and extend. I have options. I can one-handed strike it, thrust, whatever. Oh, cool. I'm glad you found those, John. But you start there. Yes, I use a drill very similar to that when I'm working with somebody and they're serious. How I approach a person's training mirrors what they want to get out of it. So I've been known to do a system where I have the target. You guys have seen the 5-dot target I made. What I do is I go 3rd red, 1st blue, and I have different colored dots on a given target, and I'm calling out the position that you're starting and the target you're finishing it. And we can just work that up. You can basically randomize that and have anybody help you with developing target recognition and from different positions. Now, sometimes you'll find you need to get where you want to go. You need to transition from, say, a lot of times you're going to end up starting and living in 3rd or 2.5. 2.5. Let me talk about 2.5 because 2.5 isn't a guard, but it is. It's 2.5 is where you get what's called an A-frame guard. Okay, and obviously 3.5 is its opposite. And you see where this line is going. This is giving me a line of protection. Now, you'll notice very frequently when I'm talking about this and I'm using a concussive fighting style where I'm striking heavily, I tend to actually favor a single-edged blade or a mostly single-edged where it has a dulled forte and a sharpened foible. Because I am a relatively small and currently rather weak guy, so I may need to do shady things. So let's swap weapons for a second, get something that will telegraph my point and look traditional. Okay. Do we go Dao or Wakizashi? You know what? We're going to go Dao because it shows up better. I love my Wakizashi. This Dao is heavy as a tank, but I do kind of love it. Okay. With a Dao, where you have an obvious, I know where the sharp starts here. My hand doesn't want to go here, but this is dull. So I can get a nice two-handed high guard if I need it, if I'm feeling weak. Or boom, I can support and guide with it. I'm a Dao guy. I'm actually, even though I'm a rapierist at heart, I'm almost more of a Dao guy than I am a Jin guy, which is kind of funny. So this is going to cover a lot. I like the weight of this because, one, you see the pommel has this bit of flair. I love pommels with that bit of flair. A lot of my favorite trainers have that little bit of flair on the end. And the reason I love it is I have small hands. I'll be first to admit. And yes, Steve, I'm working on growing stronger. That's why I'm doing it. But this allows, this is all I need to have a keyhole grip, to have a positive two-handed experience. I don't need my full hand ripped, and I don't need to tight grip it because that's actually going to bind me up a little bit. See how close it keeps my elbows to my chest? But by moving that, it's just an expansive idea. It opens me up, so that gives me a lot more room to actually wheel and cut. And that way I can get my thrusts, I can get my cuts. So this is heavier than what I fight with a lot of times, so I'm more prone to drill with it. I like to, when I am physically up for it, drill with a heavier weapon and then fight with a lighter one. That is an old Alana trick. But if you're talking swords, whether I do not believe a katana is magical. That's why I want the longer handle. Oh, for days. Well, you talk about when we talk swords, there are things you can watch. I have easily 50 different sword and knife trainers as a ballpark figure. I have fewer lifesteal swords. The ones I keep readily available. Whoop. Oh. Okay. Sorry. I am in the middle of redoing my study, and I am literally surrounded by knives and sword trainers. But even though the grip is a little wide for me on this, look at this. This beautiful little tool gives me, and I'm going to put the sharp edge up so I don't hurt myself, a lot of strength and a lot of power. Now, I will tell you the other thing is, when you're training in weapons, train in available weapons. Understand a one-handed machete, how it moves and flows. That is the most common sword in the world. Understand how to tell the quality by feel. I'm not talking about making a lot of money. Yeah, but okay. I'm going to take a second because I've been chatting quite a bit to help people. Boop, 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 boop. Practice katana Zoro. I like the spoon and sword on the guard. Then take the statement that this will take some doing. Yeah, hey, you know what? I've made really nice guards out of spoons before. Can't do that with 52 bucks. And you know what? So you have to match your training technique with who you're working with. If something doesn't work for them, do something else. Yes, the original Mask of Zorro is one of my all-time favorite sword fighting movies, and Don De La Vega, Anthony Hopkins was just one of my heroes, far more than Antonio Banderas' take on Zorro. That's not bashing it; it's fabulous, and I love the man as an actor and a musician, believe it or not. But Anthony Hopkins' Don Diego was just inspired, and the best grasp I think I've seen of an older person in a deadly occupation. You know, beware the old gray guy in a dangerous job. There are survivors, and they're the ones you learn to. Now, do you post a vid that shows mutated guards with wrists locked in position? Sydney, I'll need you to talk to me a little later at some point with what you mean with wrist locked in position. If you mean, and we'll go through that, because if I don't have a video, Lord knows I'll happily make one. But slow strikes. John's talking about how big he is. Every episode, John has to remind us that he is a physical giant. It's one of the shticks of this channel. Love him, but he was better in 13th Warrior. He was amazing in 13th Warrior. Again, as a character. And that I'm not bashing either of their fighting styles. Beautiful. The fencing is superb in both. I just identify more with Anthony Hopkins because I'm an old gimpy guy doing things that maybe I'm a little too old to do. But whoo. I love when I get new people, we can get things fired up. We can find a way to work around any style. Okay. He rode a nice dog. Yes. And you give an Arab a sword, he turns it into a knife. Can I give it to me daughter when you die? And that's because John, if he's not typing that out right now, he would. My grandpa actually used to raise Arabs, Arabian horses. They are gorgeous. They're just, as the song says, an Arab is fire's own foe. And we have different personality conflicts because I am rather more rooted. But yes, thus the grow stronger comment. Always try to grow stronger. And if you can adapt what you do, we can move on. But there are a lot of weapons we can work to make that go. There is a thing I want to buy. If you don't, Ogre, do you mind a slight curve in your swords? Does it have to be straight, or are you comfortable with a slight curve? Navarre from nothing wrong with that. See, that's the kind of goodies I can work with. And we could definitely make some of that go. Well, and okay, guys, let's talk movies and swords. And 1 second, because I'm actually past an hour in, I want to thank. Whoops! Oh, it broke when it fell. Dang it! Oh, that broke too. Oh, my beautiful sign is breaking. Anyway, I'm on the hour I usually stop for a station item. I'm a proud member of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please support them, especially Brian K. Morris' show. Never mind the furthermore, because that's sort of the root of everything that's great about this. If you're interested in comics, if you're interested in being a self-published author, follow these guys. If you want access to the best stories out there, the Historical Fencing Guild is also brought to you by my books, which I set down and misplaced. Here we go. Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, available on Indiegogo. We're working on a more permanent home for them. Opa! And the Simple Sword, which we're talking about right now, and the Fighting Axe. Brought to you by the letter WOW. Better than the letter WOW. But yes, these are available. I can also be seen on Red Valkyrie Presents every Wednesday night at 8:30 to about midnight 30. Yep, we gotta have our midstream commercial. And if you guys really, please hit the like, hit the share so other people can see the zaniness. Comment. Obviously, I love a conversation. You can always ask if you're watching in review, you have a question, explain what your question is about, because sometimes tracking through the timestamp gets difficult, and let me know, and I'll be happy to help. If you really want to be a part of making this happen, the Historical Fencing Guild on Patreon. So www.patreon.com/The Historical Fencing Guild. All big one long word. So please, if you want to support, do that. Now, getting back to the show. Thank you for allowing me my brief commercial break. Whew. One of these. John's listing off the weapons. I never list off the weapons I have because there are more than one person in the room. But I will talk about the trainers I have because I have a vast quantity of trainers around. But, if you pay attention, you can. So, let's talk about this. This is the Cold Steel Axe Gang trainer. This is the trainer I love and hate the most of all my trainers. Yes, John, you have many weapons. John, you need to start your own YouTube channel so I can plug it so you can show people your stuff and teach them. This, if you're looking as training for readiness, especially long-term survival, this is I love and hate this thing because I'm going to show you a story of two trainers for the new people. First off, this is the Cold Steel Trench Hawk trainer. This is the best trainer on the market for an axe. If you want to learn to fight with an axe, I love this. We'll move that aside. This should be, except Cold Steel switched out the plastic to be much softer. I hate that because as you can see right there, one parry made a little notch, and it put a sharp groove that actually cut my temporary cameraman, Joe Bachman, on his finger, and I had to cut a couple chunks off after a single exchange. A graze sliced him open. I can't have a dangerous weapon. That being said, the balance on this is superb. The grip is superb. And if the handle were about this long, it would be one of my favorite trainers anyway. Boom, bam. I absolutely. John is my donk. John absolutely is my donk. Well, Cindy Cap, we can fix that. Plus, you have sexy martial arts fans. Nick has a donk. I have a donk. I actually have a couple at points. It's kind of cool. I have at points in my life had a whole sliding scale of donks. That was the safest I ever felt. But learn how an agricultural axe works. Now, why do I say that? Nick, you said this is the best trainer. It is. I adore this. This is a modern bearded axe. I have the SOG version over there. But this guy is just a training dream. It is a wonderful fighting axe. However, I wouldn't want to use this when I go hiking. An axe that's shaped like an axe, Harbor Freight actually has an utterly disgustingly amazing little hand axe for about 12 to 20 bucks, depending on where you are. It's one of the best out there, especially for an intro, and I've seen some videos on minor modifications to make it better. But learn how one of these goes, because if you're hiking, you have a justifiable reason to make one of these go. So you can learn. Axes are great because not only you have all the cutting, you have the bush crafting, you have the hammer aspect. An axe can be used as a control element. It severs, slices, dices, makes french fries and julienne. And actually, even though I am, first and foremost a sword master and a rapierist, the first weapon I trained in and used for self-defense was actually a splitting maul because that was my job. That's how I earned money. So that went with me places. So when I went hiking, it became, it's like an 8-pound splitting maul. Yep. That's good and strong, and it makes things better. So, see, Cindy has something. I would rather, you'll notice, and it's upset some people. I have very few relative live steel weapons. And, who said veto? Yep. But I have a lot of trainers because I like to know what I'm training. I know what to, and if possible, I want splitting ball or a wrecking bar. It's funny you say that. I used to do my drills with a 3-foot long crowbar, a wrecking bar that had I want to say an octagonal or hexagonal cross section, and I would do rapier drills with that. That's probably why I have double carpal tunnel. Now, I also have some live steel, and I'll show this because this was given to me by John. This is my favorite sword in the world for live steel fencing. I want a trainer that feels like this so bad I could taste. I actually want two because I'm a dual wielder, but this to me is the most comfortable, fast. It is a Bilbao style. This is actually considered, the design of this is found practically as a labeled a broadsword of all things by the Spanish cavalry in the colonial era. You're looking from about 1728 pattern is good, 1780, God, I want to say 83, 84. The Carlos III pattern, Carlos IV. Wonderful, wonderful tools. And I do one thing, the people who know, and obviously Silvar knows, John Miner knows, I am an accomplished game master, dungeon master, game designer. I love running my friends through insertion campaign. Oh God, I hate that term. Through the portal, or basically we make stats, and if you could be honest and assess yourself, I have old charts for tests to figure out what your actual relative D&D stats are, and then we plug them into a game system, and we run a modern campaign. That way, you can respond sort of as yourself and try ideas out and expand the thinking of what you do. And then, we can practice, and a lot of how I got to be, I believe, either you, where did I get that crowbar from? I can't remember if you or Jesse gave it to me. It might have been Jesse's and you gave it to me. I can't remember. It's been there a long time. It was a door greeter in the trailer back in the day. Drag out my... Oh, you guys share that up on the Historical Fencing Guild public group. And yeah, what Steve talked about is the PDF. I will eventually, as I get through my contract work as a game designer, I plan to create and publish something based on that's affectionately known as the PDF. But I put people in situations. It's like, okay, you are in this small town. I have drawn up a map of the small town. You are, for some reason, limited to this small town, and there are zombies. How would you survive? And then we go, to other places, other campaigns. It's delightful. But what it does is it starts to get you, if you haven't been trained, to think tactically. Tactical awareness, situational awareness is so crucial, folks, on the fencing field in real life, that all this overlaps. I won't teach anything that I find useless. There went my mechanical pencil. It was apparently in my ear this whole time. Anyhow, what I mean is, if I learn a style that can apply to 5 different weapons, Blackheart. Yeah, well, Steve, that was tongue in cheek. Yeah, you know what? You did leave it at the trailer. I love that thing, and it's in my storage unit right now. Yeah, because that was buried. That was actually under the stove with all the old bullets that were left under there by Tommy's ex. My first trailer where I lived was special. Anyway, so I like to overlap, okay? Because a lot of how I got into what I love is a mix of growing up watching the old black and white Zorro, Doctor Who back from the days of awesomeness, and playing D&D in the 80s and 90s, thanks to the book I found during the Satanic Panic. And what I decided was I wasn't that enamored with the uber abilities. Like, I am a super spell cast. Yes, Zorro the Serial was a trip. Absolutely. That didn't appeal. I loved the skill monkeys because I could learn skills. So I sought out to do as many of the things that my characters could do in the real world, because I could learn that. So I can squeak out a function out of a couple instruments. I can pick locks. I can sword fight. I can pickpocket. I have a list of skills that I don't use maliciously, but I've acquired just because it's cool. A lot of the rangery skills. That's part that and living in the woods and camping with my dad got me a mild love affair with bushcraft. And all of this, all in my mind, is modular and interconnected. Yes, I may set up a custom. I'm working on something special for a panel type video scenario for Patreon members or the guild channel. Paladin, yeah, but I grew up in a household where guns were very limited because my father is a Vietnam vet. So firearms were understood and respected, but he didn't like us running around with toys because of the appearance. And that's okay. So I got I'm a decent, I have been at points a decent archer. I am a decent slingshot. I'm pretty good with a BB gun too. When my eyes worked better, I was very good with a BB gun. But and I'm the kid who carved a wooden bokken after watching way too much Tenchi Muyo, and I drilled with that and lightsabers and all that. That's who I was, and that's who I am. But how cool is it? Yes, I remember Queen of Swords. I absolutely do. I remember that. I remember Black Scorpion, which has nothing to do with that, but it's labeled in the same place. Great fun, cheesy. So we can learn this, and it can be fun and it can be empowering, but it should be done in a way that's also practical, because what you train is what you'll do. That's why when I say the first way to solve a fight is leave, I believe in applied cowardice. Applied cowardice is part of one of the 2 secret martial arts that I instruct. Secret martial art number 1 is run like beach. Now, for the censors, that means run like you're on the beach. Because even if you hurt, even if you survive, you've hurt somebody. And as much as I understand violence, I see it as a failure. And yes, we could make a really nice Baldric. Now, the more I'm thinking about it, the more to make a Baldric. See, my brain runs programs in the back while I'm running the front. It's from being a DM too long. But I might just do that. Ooh, I have a good idea now. Thank you. That's a callback to thesis earlier on. But the other is something I affectionately call Wagan Fu. Wagan Fu is where you wait for honorable opponent in the Walmart parking lot and run his over with a station wagon. That's a long-standing joke. I don't. Oh, Shinai are interesting. They do pinch. Applied pragmatisms. You know what, though? I do it because it's humor. I teach with a lot of fudge with walnuts. I want you to stop and look. This. Behold the glory that is me. That's 2 different Hawaiian prints and fluorescent. I am my wife will be mad at me for using this, but I'm a short, fat, furry little man. I am mechanically incapable of looking pretty intimidating. I'm 5'7.5" on a good day, 5'8". That means y'all are having some fun in the comments, and I'm just gonna let that go. But that means I can't approach cool. And you know what I've learned? I am not cool. I am not aloof. That ain't who I am. I care. Does that make me vulnerable? Sure. Does that mean people will look down at me? You care. You're not better than that? Nope. I give a dang. Sorry. But what it does mean is I can be open and I can make it fun and we can laugh. I can say, let's parry Nerf darts. Boogada, boogada, boogada. Live fire drill! And open up with a Nerf gun on my students. And most of them will block most of the darts. You are capable of generating that field. Part of it is I choose not to. I don't want to be I don't want to be a bad guy. Now life has at times handed me the black hat. And I tell people don't hand me the black hat because I will wear it. But Steve, I have seen you put on sunglasses and come out with like a background. Like I have seen you get out of a blacked out Mercedes in tactical gear, carrying enough arms to start a small to overthrow a small nation with the sunglasses and freaking doves flying overhead by chance. Yes, Steve, you are capable of looking cool. I've seen John ride up on a freaking Harley looking like Hagrid's scarier brother with a greatsword on his back. I have seen cool. I am loved by small animals and children feel safe around me. Cool is not what I do. And as I approach 40 rapidly, I have embraced that's who and what I am. Cindy, you are a literary elf, a genius, and you have the fan-based martial arts. You do cool. I don't do cool. So you know what? It is so funny that Foxy says Nick is a Disney princess. Everywhere I lived for more than a couple months, Clover grow up. Everywhere. Doesn't matter where you put me. If I'm there a few months, Clover. I will never find the four-leaf clover in that mess. But if my friend Trey comes over, she will find multiple, and it wigs her out. I always have small animals coming around, like birds and darn. Sorry about that. Well, you missed some silliness, but I have birds that live around the house and look in the windows, and small animals and deer comes into them. It happens. It's just my mojo. I don't know what to do with it. Tech hates me with an unbridled passion, but that's just the thing. And I'm okay with that because it's who I am. And no, it's not cool, but that's okay. And I get the creepy. Yes, creepy things come to. Yeah, things want to eat my face too, because whatever I am, some set tasty for certain villainous things of vaguely cryptid and or mythological nature do tend to apply. Yep. I am also more comfortable around a certain breed of actually dangerous person than around fake dangerous people. Fake dangerous people annoy me. I am not a cryptid. There's no proof or evidence. Do not look up the pictures. Oh, I know. Steve, I know this movie. I have to keep rolling. Guys, I have to keep the mojo going. We got to keep the humor going. Because that's how my thing rolls. So, no. Yep. Now, every once in a while, there are inversions to the rule where every once in a while I'll get around something that absolutely despises me. Certain spiders and I have dubious. It's like Loth has a beef against me or something, and every once in a while sends an assassin. Anyway, that's normal, folks. That is my normal. You know, if you don't walk out and occasionally find a deer staring at you like, "Hi, what's up?" or a fox in your front lawn, or it's just normal. I don't really get any upgrades from it. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. Some spiders I could be cool with. And then anybody who's watched this channel, some die in a hail of applied foam at 100 plus feet per second. Yeah. Fake dangerous people, exactly. Yeah, I've had the baby deer thing. Yeah, I've had baby deer. I've had adult deer come up and talk to me like, yeah. But the trick is, and we're off book, folks, and that's okay. Nobody minds. And if you mind, you've missed the point of the channel, because my job is to educate and entertain and get you an education into sword swinginess. You know, I take myself, as you can see, deadly serious. Guys, I've used a tactical tambourine. God, I'm such a bard. I am spoony. But okay, on the subject of dangerous people, I'm going to take a moment. I associate with veterans. I am a fat civilian, to the point where that key is part of a key phrase that there's some business aspects involved in, because I am very passionate on certain subjects. Got educated. But my father is a combat veteran. I grew up around a group of people called men. I have had the honor to associate with friends and actual individuals, family, friends, associates who are classically, formally trained gentlemen in truly dangerous arts who are experienced and survived them. I have known people who have survived other different kinds of spiritual battle, both metaphysical and medical. The problem with that, I am not a dangerous man. I am not. I am the guy who helps people, because that's what I choose to be. I'm the guy who you could talk to when most people would talk down to you or whatever. But with the category, if you're being a dick, I will call you on being a dick, because that's part of the job. But the real dangerous people out there, one, they all can smell each other. There is a network out there. And then there are people, and when you know them and you've been around them, you don't tolerate imposters. And that is one of my great things. I cannot tolerate a poser, which is why I'm so careful to say, I will teach you the basics of swordplay. I will help you be better and good as you can be. And if I think somebody can teach you better, folks, I'll direct you to them. And if I have the means to make the introduction, I'll do it. And then I will hands off, because that's my job. My job is to build people up, to help them, entertain them, educate them, whatever, help make the world a little better, because somebody needs to. I am not satisfied with what I see. And I am egotistical enough and narcissistic enough in this one case to think maybe the actions of one person applied with sincerity can make a difference. So I keep trying, and I fall on my face. And it happens. But I consider veterans heroes. Hard stop. If anybody who signs on the dotted line to give their life for our freedom is a hero. Hard stop. And that's one of those I don't consider a political statement. They served. Served. That's the key word. Served. It wasn't paid. It wasn't, I took the job. I mean, they got paid. Everybody deserves to get paid. But they volunteered, and in some cases did it. My father served in Vietnam. He did not want to, but he realized it was getting that time, and he volunteered before he got pulled. At least I believe so. Now, anybody who got drafted and went, they could have ran, and they didn't. So I hold them in high regard. Period. I'm not bashing the people who didn't. That's their decision. That's what they chose to do. That's a different thing. But I will say, if you served, you have signed literally your life away, your freedoms away, to serve your fellow Americans. Optimally, I try to serve everybody, but it gets dicey sometimes. So that's heroism, and I'm going to support it. And anybody who gives them crap for coming back with nightmares from it, I don't want their input. And if that means losing money, I'm comfortable with that. That's called morality. That's called integrity, and it does exist in this world. So when I see somebody who's posing and trying to be intimidating and they're not, it does tend to make me laugh. And I've had people go, I love that thing. I could kill you. So could a dog or a wolf or a really motivated duck, I'm gimpy. I take that term so it can't be used against me. I walk with a cane. I got one leg shorter than the other, and I walk in circles if I'm not careful. Or even uneven concrete or that one rock. Y'all know that one rock? It just appears just to get under the heel point so that you roll an ankle. Donk. Yeah. Steve said it. 22 a day. 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and that sickens me. So anybody here who's a veteran especially need somebody to talk to, hit me in the DMs. I'll talk to you. Even if I don't know you. Heck, I've talked to people I don't know. I've talked to friends, talked to relatives. Don't care. I want to keep people alive long enough to find their way back to wherever they're supposed to be. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but it's not my job. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. My job's to occasionally help keep people on that path, and I've done that. But Foxy, I'm gonna say you have my condolences that you had to endure that, and I hope that gentleman finds enlightenment and repentance, because that is the nicest, kindest thing I can say right now. Or a fast-moving Chevy. Yeah, I have been known to. There are a lot of ways to solve problems, but I would rather just help the people who need help. There are people better than me to be Karma's hand. I'm not Karma's hand, but they're out there. And one thing I will tell anyone who watches this, if you're walking around pretending to be a bad mother, there is always a bigger fish. And I've met them. I've met soldiers, I've met vets, I've met hitters. And I mean that in several colloquial terms, okay? I walk interesting places, at least I did in my youth, less so now. I have a wife, I have a son, and I have my own issues that I'm kind of tending to. But I have known eclectic and varied folks. So if you're walking around, especially if you're a young guy trying to prove you're a BA, be careful, dude. There are bad mofos out there. And I don't want anyone hurt who doesn't have to. And I'm sorry you guys have had to endure that. I get a lot of stories. This is why I work with the people that I work with and why I approach things with the format I approach it. If you are a healthy, moderately, middle class or better individual, finding someone to teach you martial arts is easy. Anything you want to learn, kinda, if you have any level of dedication, the world's your oyster. For people who have problems and the people who have backgrounds and issues, those are the ones I'm usually better at helping, because it's a different scale and it's a different set of priorities. And like I said, I'm sorry, and I am so sorry that there's scumbags out there. But when you survive stuff, and I have survived some unpleasantness in my time. Some you guys know about, some you'll never know about. I have survived unpleasantness. Good, stay out of alleys. And yeah, sometimes, guys, it takes a twisted road to get you where you are. I realized a lot of what I endured put me in a place to do what I do, so I can help others. And if that's what it took, I accept the price. Because I'll be mildly religious, and I don't mean to offend, but sometimes to get a beautiful picture, God has to paint with some pretty dark colors. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's not about you. And it's horrific to think that way. But sometimes good can come out of it in strange ways. And if that's what it took to get me to be the kind of person that can help people get better, get stronger, and not necessarily physically. I mean, that's great. I love seeing people learn to fight and get more confident and more competent. That's awesome. But it's about building folks up. And yeah, and I am sorry, Silver Ogre. Occasionally, because people are safe here, some of life's darknesses do come out. And that's part of why I wear these great big. I always come on the show wearing something bright and silly, just to, could I wear all black or a nice deep shade of brown, earth tones, and just be chill? I could, and that would be more comfortable for me. Believe it or not, I'm a tremendous introvert. But through this persona, through this projection, I help people. And helping people to me is more important than my comfort. And I'm glad you can be. Some people can't, and some people have confided things in me that I support them. And honestly, I try to do my best to forget as much as possible, not to dissuade them, but that way I can't give away a secret. And there are a lot of dark times, and what you do coming out of the dark is what impresses me. Because right now, in my feed right now, and on my channel, and certainly on the Facebook group and in my Patreon, are fighters. Okay, and I'm not just saying sword fighters, yeah, not just swish and poke and go, but these are people who have survived things, and that's why I support them. Because people who have survived things and are trying to make it better somehow. Everybody here, everybody I talk to, one way or another, tries to make things better. That's like John gets on every week. John gets on every week and he talks about how big he is. It's kind of John's stick. And he talks about his toys. And I've had people, why don't you do something about it? Because honestly, I don't care. Don't take that wrong. But that's not why I associate with John. I associate with John because he tries to help people. He tries to teach new people things. He tries to help, whether he succeeds or not in all times, he's trying to be the last knight, with a K. He's trying to hold the line in a world that's losing that. And we need people who try. And yeah, that's the other thing, as Steve says, some people operate in the dark. Like I said, I associate with dangerous and I associate with deadly people. I associate with with some people who you never know, but they have a count in their ledger. And it might not be red, but it is a count. And they're still that's how they help. And unfortunately, in a world with wolves, we'll always need sheepdogs. And I don't hold it against them. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't, because if that's who and what they are, and they're not pretending. And I understand their rules; they understand my rules. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have rules. We get along just fine. Wolfhounds, and there are a million posers who will walk out with those shirts that say, if you were born in October and have gray hair and are a pick a zodiac sign, you're a badass. No, those aren't the dudes. It's the dude in the polo shirt who looks like he'd do nothing that they're impressive. Yep, and that's the thing. There are important people doing important work. Me, no, I understand, and I've been in the all black place, and I mean that clothing wise and attitude wise. I spent time there. I came out of some stuff, and I was a person that I realized I didn't like who I was, and I didn't like who I could be. So I learned solitude, and for a long time, I learned a different way that put me where I could where I could heal. And sometimes you have to heal alone. And I'm finding, and this is very relevant, that a lot of people are going to come out of the 2020 pandemic lockdowns. And some people, they broke during this. And some people hardened. And some people they healed enough to realize they don't need the negative forces in their life, and they are more comfortable being alone than around people that they were around because they were scared of being alone. And that's an empowering, dangerous, interesting thing. It is a change that we're going to see. People are going to leave jobs and make less but be happier. People are going to chase dreams more. I'm chasing all sorts of dreams. I gave up being a librarian. I was a part-time librarian. I am now I'm a game designer, and that's my main source of income right now, if I'm honest. I'm a freelance artist. I still take commissions. Foxy isn't quite a real life manic pixie girl, but we have a surprising number of guildies who have been perhaps put in that category a little bit. Oh God! Hello, we're joined by Stef Mari. She is one of my wonderful patrons, a dear friend, a guildie. She's been in a few videos, and in the future she'll be in more. And she will be the reason in a few weeks I will be missing I will actually not be doing a live stream because I've been invited to her wedding. And guess what? I get to go because I've been inoculated. So my family is safe. So we're planning to attend and actually quite excited. So I'm looking forward to that. The weddings I associate with always get kind of interesting. Hopefully not as interesting as John's were, but yeah. And he had 2 ceremonies to the same woman. It's not that complicated. It's just situational. And yes, timing. But yeah, I have a lot of students who actually have at points in their life been labeled or mislabeled that funny little phrase of a manic pixie girl. And people usually take advantage of them, and then I try to help build them back up so they can find who they are and be fully actualized one way or another. And I love that. It's funny. I know a lot of retired manic. That's an eerie thing. I had not thought of how many people in my class. Oh, John Miner. Yes, John Miner is Little John. Since you don't know him, he looks like Hagrid. Think about basically a real scale Hagrid, about 6'6", and he has a son named John, who's narrower. But yeah, it really is. It's an insult, but it's no. That's the point. That's the point, Cindy. You missed part of it, but I not Cindy. Stef. That's my ride name in the MC. That doesn't even surprise me. John's Haggard. That doesn't even surprise me. But people who get labeled that and helping them move past that has been one of my shticks, because I have this crazy idea that everybody is a person. There are no NPCs. Process that. There are no NPCs. None. Sometimes we feel like it. Those of us who've worked retail have felt like NPCs. But there are no NPCs. And Foxy, it's one of those where it can be used differently. And part of that goes back to some of Stef's damage. Both of you guys are walking into a conversation that it might be really good for you guys to have. And honestly, having that would be... you two might have some really interesting conversations. And I really encourage you having them. I don't think live streaming on my show is where they're going to belong, though, because it's good stuff. But I think, like I said, there. Now we are actually getting close to the 2-hour line, and I'm not going to run too late tonight because I have early morning necessities, both now medically and some of that. So I'm not quite the night owl I used to be. Big reveal: Nick has diabetes and has to take medicine, so I have to schedule things now. But this, folks, this has been a great show. Yeah, Stef Mari, you two should definitely talk, because one, I think you'll make fast friends, and I really love the idea. My goal is not only to get the guild interactive, but someday I have a dream, folks. I can't take my head off because it's my head. I have a dream of holding an event where I can get a hold of all of y'all, all the guildies I've worked with over the years, all the folks who've come and learned and wandered off and come in at a single big event, so we can train and hang out and have a wonderful time. I'd like to see it because, in part, I think it would be great for everybody. In part, I'm gonna tell you, it is totally self-absorbed. I sometimes, believe it or not, despite the world, I forget that I can be a positive influence. That's imposter syndrome. That's depression. There's a few other things kicking in. And a lot of times, the back of my mind will try to lie and tell me that I don't do any good. And then I get on a show and I see people talking, and we're building people up. And yes, I get it. But I don't get to see it, and that's part of who I am. It's just part of what makes me me. So awesome. I think I should be around more to know and be known better. Absolutely. Silver Ogre one on Facebook is the Historical Fencing Guild's public group. Join. I have to approve it just because I keep people only speaking English, because there is a band, I believe it's an Arabic band with the acronym HFG. So sometimes there's some confusion, and I don't want to mislead anybody. But yeah. Oh no, Cindy, if we were honest, and if I were to pull out my honesty vulnerability hat for a second, yeah. Most of the time, I'm convinced I'm pretty much a waste of oxygen, but I'm working always to get past that. But so, and how I fight that is helping more people. If you ever feel bad, help somebody. My dad taught me that, and it works. It also helps people. And one thing about Foxy, part of why I want you to be able to talk to Stef is you are a very similar builds with very, very similar medical histories on a couple, shall we say, key items. And I think being able to talk to somebody who's going through the challenges and learning to fight of the same build, same height, reach issues, it might be really good for you. And even though we're vastly separated, perhaps arrangements can be made someday. So yeah, get a hold of. Steve wants somebody to get a hold of him soon, so we'll get a hold of him soon, whoever it is. If it's me, I will. But you guys, I wouldn't recommend that sort of thing. And this is what I do. I build connections. This is why I get along so well with Brian K. Morris. Y'all are, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sure. But guys, this right here is why I do what I do. Tonight's show, I had a little bit to talk about. I didn't even get to talk much about what PHA has out there, but please look them up. Again, we're kind of in a lag in gear. A special thanks to Silver Ogre, please, I do this show every week. I've done this every week through the entire pandemic. I started it as a way of connecting with my guild members. But I do this from 8 to 10, theoretically. Sometimes I go over. But we talk swords, we answer questions, I make reviews, I review products, sometimes I influence their creation. I like to help people inexpensively get to where they go. I have some books which I will shill as part of the end of my show. But please come back. Yeah, and that's part of why I do the Red Valkyrie game night. To the folks who watch this and want to see me in a goofy DMing style GM setting, running basic fantasy for the people who want to know the system, which John Miner especially look into. It's all free, basicfantasy.org. I think it's Basic Fantasy. It might be Basic Fantasy RPG, but you can get it all free. I bought the sexy hardcover because it's sexy. But I'm running out of this. This is in 3.5 to 3.5 to 5th edition, somewhere in there. Look it up. I do this every week. I do theoretically. Red Valkyrie presents Dice Dudes and Dames. Starts at 8:30 on Wednesday nights and goes to 12:30. But we usually start a little late because there are a lot of technical errors on their end. And that's okay. I'm just letting you guys know. So, let's go through the shtick, guys. I am a proud member of folks like Cindy Kep and Brian K. Morris of the Rising Tide broadcast network. I don't know if Cindy Kep's broadcasting yet, but she will. I will be making a new sign as my Lexan is breaking from misuse. But take a screenshot if you have it. If you're looking for independent authors, creators, I crash. Let's see. Let's look at the shows I regularly crash because people ask me, which ones are you on? Never mind the furthermore, I'm in the comments almost every time, unless there's going to be a lot of foul language because I watch it in front of my son. A clever title pending, I've been known to not only appear on, but substitute guest. The Stupid O'Clock guys, I love to crash their show. I have a long-standing. So you can see me there, the Historical Fencing Guild. I also have a separate channel where I do my art and some stop-motion movies. That's just under Nicholas Tockert on YouTube. Look it up. You can find it. Yes. Fox's ears have ears. Nope. I don't have one because I think I'm. Well, Sydney, maybe we can fix that. I still think you need to do like, YouTube. You know what, Sydney? I know the perfect format, and it might be rapidly monetized. YouTube has YouTube Shorts. They are a minute or less. Hop on, read some cheesy puns, cite the source, and go. You can advertise your stuff, and they will get plugged. And that would be a great way for you to start. Because Cindy Kep is the most amazing punster on the planet. She researches. As a dad, her dad jokes are superb. But getting back to things, the Historical Fencing Guild is brought to you by the Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe. Guys, I keep these as cheap as Amazon will let me, so that the knowledge that I know can be brought to you in case I get hit by a bus. The Simple Sword is my masterpiece. It took me about 15 years to write, and it breaks down learning Western martial arts from a simple, easy to learn method. This is a add-on. It's a little kind of quick read on making axes go. It's meant to be an addendum to this. There's one based on spears in the works. And I'm doing a arms and armor homemade guide in the works. While I have to put that off for contract work. I have a link for my Patreon members at the Patreon, www.patreon.com/thehistoricalfencing where you can actually see behind the scenes of me working on that project. And when I'm not working on it, you can harangue me to work on it because you guys love being able to do that. Cindy Kep says that she's read them both and they're absolutely fabulous. I couldn't get higher praise from somebody. that I am also involved with, and it's it's formalizing the hybrids. Where did my book go? Well, I always lose one book halfway through a broadcast, so the hybrids book. Oh no, not yep. The hybrids book is hiding from me at the moment. Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, Luke Stone's amazing comic book. I'm the guy who's writing the RPG. The quick play is available to snag if you like rules light, fast gaming systems for modern or superhero applications at this time. Hint, ton of bricks. I'm up to something. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I love my viewers. You guys make comments, we chat, we build each other up, people learn stuff. That's what the guild's about. That's what Friday nights are for. Thank you very much for coming out and spending your Friday night with me. Guys, stay safe, be kind to others and yourself, and as always, support your local swordmaster.